Mayan world, to extend you the most cordial welcome to this conference. In the next 45-50 minutes, we're going to try to enter this time capsule and travel back to the past and try to understand this magnificent civilization known as the Mayas. Did it improve? Okay. We've heard lots about the Mayas, especially now that the year 2012 is just around the corner. People talk about the end of the world, about the planet split in pieces, and all of God knows, well, stories. Especially when it comes to Hollywood, we all have maybe seen this movie called Apocalypto, which I call Eucalyptus. It was made by Mel Gibson, in which he portrays our ancient barbarians that would eat the intestines of animals and would play games with heads of people. Well, let me tell you, I got a surprise for you. First thing I'll ask you, for this next 45-50 minutes, let's be daring and let's go against everything that's been said about the Maya. 180 degrees against what we know and we've heard about these fantastic civilizations. 65 million years ago, our solar system received that unexpected visitor. In those days, there was no one who could forecast such a catastrophic event. We all know that that asteroid, that visitor, ended with life as it was known at that time. There is a paradox in this, that in the very epicenter of that event, this mysterious civilization emerged from the mist, only to disappear the same way, leaving their magnificent cities behind, along with the prophecy that forecasts us of a similar event to occur again in the future. That's the beautiful city of Uxmal, which is one of the most magnificent vestiges we have from the Mayan civilization. Today we know that everybody's looking in the wrong direction. Everybody's looking for asteroids, everybody's looking for aliens, maybe dragons and monsters that are supposed to emerge from the cenotes and eat us alive. The Mayas, as guardians of time, they left us engraved on stone, on their cities, a legacy. That legacy, it is the secret to be able to pass this threshold, which is the most important event for humankind in the new era, and that is the year 2012. To be accurate, it will be the day 21st, 22nd of December 2012. They left on those stones engraved that legacy in which they will teach us how to pass from this painful way of living that humankind has created today into a painless way of living. Why painless? Because first thing we need to understand about the Mayas is that the word Maya actually means painless. Ma means no, and Ya means pain. They would call themselves different ways. The Maya Quiche, the Tzotziles, Quetzales, Head people, and many, many other ones. But all of them together, all these nations together, decided to create a civilization that would spin around an axis called Maya, which means painless. We will understand today why they call it painless and how that works and how that legacy is meant to pass on to us 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years ahead of time, so that we can understand and be us, the generation in pain that passes this threshold in a gracious way instead of a painful one. In order to understand a civilization, we first need to understand their constructions and what's the purpose behind it. We've heard lots of stories from different scholars that the Mayan pyramids are nothing but the result of being built in the first foundation, the first plane, to run away from the water, and then the second plane to run away from serpents, and then again and again, and then all the way to the top to run away from mosquitoes. We know today that's baloney. That's not true. As you can see, there is an amazing resemblance with that way of building of the ancient Sumerians and the Chaldeans also. Thoreau studies did investigations and research I've performed has proven that the ancient Mayan knowledge was shared with Semitic nations as the Sumerians. There's large amounts of proof of that, archaeological proof, but today is kind of too much to handle. But eventually the whole world will know, and the whole of the archaeological world is going to share that. Making a little bit of story, we're going to go back in history and realize that by the time the Spaniards arrived into this continent, the Arabs, the Moors had left, Jews had been converted to the Edict of Alhambra, and Christopher Columbus on that very same day had departed from Europe. At that very time, Europe was about the only place on planet Earth that thought that planet Earth was flat. So nobody wanted to climb on the boat, so they choose all the people who were in the death row, the prisons, so they could go jump on the boats and try to conquer the new world. That's the kind of people that actually arrived into this continent, into the Yucatan. This is a magnificent pool of Chichen. If you have opportunity, please visit us. It is an amazing place. It's awesome. By the time the Spaniards arrived, the Mayas have long gone. When they arrived to the cities, they would ask, how come all these beautiful, magnificent cities are abandoned? And they say, we don't know. The people that actually built it left 500 years ago. That's 1,000 years ago or time now. And that's the way the cities were abandoned. Light and sound. The first problem we face in order to understand the Mayan cosmogony is the fact that the Spaniards didn't have the will in that time to understand or try to interact with the ancient Mayas. Lack of will to understand, and then created a theological problem. Of course, by the time the Spaniards arrived, they had the Bible in one hand and they had a sword in the other one. You either convert or you'll be beheaded. So there was barely no opportunity to truly understand the magnificence of this civilization. We can picture the Spaniards trying to understand or disregarding this fantastic manuscript that they left in codexes. This is a codex that today is kept in Dresden, in Germany, in a museum. And it's one of the 4 ones that are actually still surviving. It's actually 3 of them, but 4 of them are part of the same one. One in Paris, one in Spain, the other one in Dresden. These codices have and keep the secret of life itself. We have done gross scientific studies through them, and in NASA we've worked with several universities in Canada and the United States, and if you only knew what's hidden in there, it would just blow your mind away. Unfortunately, our time today is a little bit short, but we can run afterwards into questions and answers for those who wish to go deeper into the You have all heard about the Mayans having a ball game in which they said that whoever won was to be beheaded to keep the gods happy. I don't know if you heard about it, but that's one of those stories that around. This is the ball court, and this is the engraving we will find on the ball court. That ball court will show us this man leaning on his right, his hand reflected on his right knee, and he is submitting or subduing a piece on the right side, at the bottom. Then we have a skull over here that it is understood as the spirit of that gentleman that has been beheaded, and that is the losing team that is holding the head of that one, the team that won. This is totally wrong. This is based on fear. This is based on fanaticism, ignorance from ancient so-called archaeologists that only portray and pass their own fears, trying to understand this sacred engraving here that actually provides us the secret to pass this threshold. How does that work? What you're actually looking at is a beautiful process of initiation. This is an adept that has through a process of initiation that involves defeating 7 eagles. And those are the 7, what we know in Judeo-Christian tradition as the 7 capital sins, which are not property of the Torah or our current Bible. Choose your sin, anyone. And same way as the 10 commandments, the 7 capital sins are not own. It's based on nature,